Hello, welcome to Zigmatech Learning Hub. I will be your instructor for fine art. You can call it visual art as well, cultural and creative art. Now for this class, we are going to be taking our exercises from the ExamGuide app. Now if you don't have this application installed already in your device, I will advise you download this app in order for you to follow along this class. Now, ExamGuide is a leading educational app that helps students prepare adequately for exams, for various exams, such as UTME, post-UTME, WASE, GCE, KCPE, IJMB, JUPEB, Calbepedia, BESE, JSCE, NCEE, NECO, to mention but a few. You can download the app from our website www.examguide.com, or you can download it as well as using your Google Play Store. Please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to be updated on new videos as we upload. Now, if you're ready for today's class, okay, let's get started.
Okay, welcome back. And this is the part 3 of the contemporary Nigerian artist in Nigeria, Nigerian art. So for the past, 2 sections, we've been talking about contemporary Nigerian artists, and we looked at several of them. And today we can't exhaust all of them, but we'll just try as much as possible to do the few ones we can. And so far so good. I've given us, the 8 major ones. So today I'm going to give us extra 4 to make it 12. And you can actually read the rest, in your closest, as in your school library, and get the materials anywhere. Now, without any further ado, let's dive into it. All right. So today we'll be looking at Mwamara. Now, Mwamara is a painter, he's a graphic designer, he's also a poet. He was born in the year 1946. So let's see who exactly is Mwamara. Now, Mwamara was one of the Zaria Art member in the Art Society of the Zaria Rebel, whose impact cannot be forgotten easily in the history of contemporary Nigerian art. After his first degree in 1962, he worked with the Ministry of Agriculture, in Enugu State, as a commercial artist. Now, Mwamara also worked tirelessly to build up the art section in the information department at the government that was established there in Enugu. So these are some of his work. Now, his section was responsible for organization and printing of information booklets and posters. As a photographer, he won a bronze medal in a competition organized in New York. He also worked with the Shell British Petroleum in Port Harcourt in 1966 as a media supervisor. Now, shortly after that, Mwamara, became a civilian, shortly after that, was the Nigerian Civil War that broke out, which made him return to his people and worked in Eastern Nigerian Ministry of Information. He was in charge of the cultural affairs in Igbo art students, for the Igbo art students from the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. Equally worked with him, the Obiora, Udochukwu, to mention but a few. After the war, he was employed by the Latan's advertising agency of the UAC group of companies. Now, some of his outstanding adverts while at Latan include Nigerian Breweries products and the defunct cooperative bank. He was a lecturer in the Department of Fine and Applied Art, Institute of Management and Technology in IMT Enugu from 1975 to 1985. He was the head of the Department Fine and Applied Art Education at different times in the institution before his death in 1985. So Mwamara died in 1985 after impacting, after sharing or giving back to the world or giving back to his country the few things he could. Imagine if he's still alive today, what he would have done for the field of art. So he participated in many group exhibitions in Zaria, both in Kanu, in Ibadan, in Dakar, Senegal, in Germany, even in the United States of America. He also organized a solo exhibition, and this is to showcase his own work and other works other talented art Nigerian artists. Now, some of his artworks include Mother Goat and the Child. And he also painted Lolo, which is the fertility. He painted the Igbo village. He also painted the outing of the Medians, titles, women. He also painted People of the North 1 and 2, which means he painted this in different parts. Painted People of the North 1 and People of the North 2 to mention, but if his works are all over the internet, you can actually go and then do a quick rundown on Mwamara. All right, Ogbonnaya Mwamara was born in April, so let's take a total summary or a summary of who exactly Mwamara Ogbonnaya is. Now, Ogbonnaya Mwamara was born in April 1936 in Ovin in Abia State, and he died in 1985. He was one of the pioneer members of the Zaria Art Society, the Zaria Rebel. He attended Central School. He also attended Central School Amabon in Ovim, primary education. That was his primary education. He started to showcase some of his artistic talents from elementary school by helping his teacher to draw on the board. You know, there are some teachers that cannot draw on the board. So some students like me, while I was, in primary school and even in secondary school, I could remember several times my teachers would come in class and then they would give me their drawings. I would really want to draw on the board for other students to follow. I actually started doing business with that. Well, that is just for me. I don't know. And so Mwamara, maybe I took a step from Mwamara. Then I don't know him anyway. So because of his talent, he actually did all that, to help some of his teachers. Now, Mwamara also taught at a primary school after his elementary education, and thereafter was appreciated for 2 years at the private school in Ovin. Now, he also attended GCE. He also took the normal GCE examination, both the England and Oxford examination in 1955 down to 1958, and passed by what correspondent without attending regular secondary school. Now, he did all these things even without attending the regular secondary school, but he succeeded effortlessly in the exams. For those of you now watching me now, automatically you have exams that you'll be writing. Maybe it could be GCE, it could be JAMB, it could be NECO. Yeah, you're training yourself. So when you're privileged, Mwamara was not privileged to have what you have now. Having a teacher that is in front of you, trying to direct you and tell you about these things. But then he was able to somehow develop himself and then took these exams and then he passed effortlessly. So, which gained him some of the international recognition he had. So he opened his own studio at Owerri in Okigwe. He also got his BA in Fine and Applied Art, in Nigerian College of Art and Science Technology, Zaria, between 1985 and 1962. He also went further to further his education. He got his master's degree in 1981 from the University of Wisconsin in US. Now, these are his educational background. Now, fond of using earth colors in his work. Now, Mwamara is so fond of using earthen colors, natural colors in his work. His theme were mainly from the Igbo and the Hausa tradition. Example, Ome Ihe Jiofo, that is justice, and People of the North 1 and 2. So he likes painting, he likes creating works with the Igbo title and the northern maxims. All right. So Mwamara, he worked at the Ministry of Agriculture, like I told you initially, in Enugu, in the Eastern Nigerian, and the Ministry of Information during the war as information and cultural officer. So these are. If I start, explaining a lot of the most of the things he did, it will really take us a longer time. But however, we'll just see the few ones we can lay our hands on, and then we'll still proceed. Now he won a bronze in photography at a competition in New York. He worked at UAC Group in advertising units. Now he's also a lecturer and the head of department in IMT Enugu, Fine and Applied Art department in that school. Now he took part in solo and group exhibition both in outside country and also in Nigeria. More examples of his artworks are Mother and Child, Lolo, and you have the Igbo village. So these are the works that Mwamara did, that he did. And then there's one of his works I also like a whole lot, which is the outing of the media, and then the woman, to mention but a few. So these are some of the works he did. So let's just take a look at some of his paintings. Now, if you see here, you see a perfect example of Mwamara's paintings. You see the face. He plays with natural colors and then he expresses himself. So that is exactly who Mwamara was and his impact in art society. So please, I want you to take note of his work, and then if possible, go check him out. Understand more of the things he did for art, and then you will, appreciate art the more and his impact. All right. So now let's look at the next person we'll look at. His name is Jerry Buhari. Jerry Buhari. Currently now, I guess he's a professor, if I'm not mistaken. Now Jerry Buhari is a painter and he's also an art educator. Jerry Buhari is born in 1959. He's so very much alive today. He's vibrant. He's still practicing in full. And then now let's look at Jerry Buhari and see his impact and what he has done. Now remember, I told us Nigerian contemporary artists. These are artists that emerged immediately afterwards the Nigerian traditional art. Remember, we told us there are some arts and there are some Nigerian arts that was not influenced by the Western culture at all. Now, these guys did their work even before the colonization of the Westerners. Now, after that period, emerged the Nigerian contemporary art. So the people we are looking at now are the people that broke in, and some of them are still alive. As a matter of fact, I can still compare myself as also a Nigerian contemporary art, but now we regard ourselves as what? Modern artists, because most of our works are being influenced by the Western culture. So that is what brought us from what? It is a crescent from the traditional art to the contemporary art. Now we're in the modern art. Hello? So I don't know what you guys will be. You listening to me now. You might come up tomorrow to be maybe the future artist or something. But for now, let us concentrate on what? The Nigerian contemporary artist. Okay, we are looking at Jerry Buhari. So let's take a good look at some of his general contribution. Now, as a lecturer in the Department of Fine Arts in ABU, that is the Abuja University, now he has trained many students in paintings, drawing, and designs. He was at different period head of department design between 1998 down to 2002. Now Buhari has taken part in series of solo exhibitions and even group exhibitions, both in Nigeria and in outside Nigeria. Now two of his major solo exhibitions are, when you hear the word solo exhibitions, what I'm trying to say there is his personal exhibitions, like the ones he did by himself. So some of the exhibitions he did was Wari Forms. Now held at Kashim Ibrahim Library, Ahmadu Bello University in 1981. That was when he did this particular exhibition. Now, so let's see some of the impact he made. Now, these are some of the exhibitions he has done actually. So we have the Flora Notes, Italian Cultural Institute, Lagos, Nigeria in December 2nd, 1989. That was when he did that. Among his group's exhibition, we are quite large in numbers, which include exhibition of art and craft held at a community center in Kaduna, that is in August 1981. Silver Jubilee National Art Exhibition, which took place at the National Theatre, Lagos in September 26th, even in October 1st, 1985. Now, second Nigeria International Tourism Expo 88 in Kaduna, November in 1988. Now, he also participated in the third biennial exhibition in Central Havana, Cuba in July 1989. He also, participated in Image of Nigerian Nation National. This was held at National Theatre in Lagos on October 13th, 1990. So these are, some of the exhibitions that Jerry Buhari, did. Now let's look at the total summary of what Jerry Buhari has done for art and for himself. Now he's a vibrant painter that was born on the 11th of July 1959 in Kwaya, Kaduna State. He attended elementary school at Bani Giwari and Zukwa in 1966 to 1972. Now he did his secondary school at Government College, Kaduna in 1973 to 1977. He had his BSA, his BA and master as an MFA degrees in painting from ABU, Abuja in 1981 to 1984. Now he experiments with colors and has closer dialogue with nature. Now he experiments a lot with colors and he has a close dialogue with what? With nature. We'll go far to see how some of his works look like. Now, Buhari had Adokuntu painters as one of his mentor. Now, an apostle of the arts world as a global village. Now he preached, he tried his best to, to enlighten people with the impact and the importance of art, mostly in Nigeria. Now his styles could be addressed as floral romance. That is what he addresses his style as, a floral romance. Now I will explain that further by the time we start taking good look at his works. Now he's painting waves. Now you see the flow and transform into vegetal reading. You can really not understand exactly what he's trying to say because of the way he plays with color. You see the mixture of it will sometimes it want to look like flowers, sometimes it want to look like that's why he actually call it vegetal and these are floral romance rather. That's why I call it what? A floral romance. So by the time we see some of his works, you understand that. And mind you, if you notice all the artists we are explaining, we are showing their works, none of them has the same works. All their works are different. That is that's their unique nature. You understand? So if you want to stand out, you must actually be different from the other person. So that is one of the things that made them stand out. Now among these, some of his works are the Wasted series. That is one of the work he did. Now, outstanding works include Dream Landscape, Sunflower, Serenity, Flower of Hope, Lovers, Global Village, to mention both of you. Those are some of his masterpieces that he did. Now, as a lecturer in ABU and also the head and even the dean of environmental faculty between 1998 to 2002. Now, some of the solo and group exhibitions include Guara Forms, Flora Notes, Silver Jubilee, National Art Exhibition, and the third biennial exhibition held in Havana in Cuba. Now, that is that about Buhari. Now, exactly what I'm trying to explain. If you know, now just take a good look at this work that you're seeing on the slide. You see how beautiful they look. You want to say, is this really flower? What exactly does it look like? So he tries to play with your psyche. You understand? So that's exactly what the impact Buhari has actually made for us in the field of art. All right, now let's consider the next person. Now we'll look at Professor Nwaboje IS. Professor Nwaboje IS. He's a graphics artist, he's a painter, and also an art educator. He was born in 1930 and he died in 1997. Okay, now let's look at the general contribution he made to the world, to art. Now Nwaboje was at one time an art supervisor of Nigerian television service in Lagos. At the same period, he was the part-time lecturer in graphics and textile design at Siaba College of Technology in Lagos. He was the founder and the co-coordinator of the popular Uriolukun Art Workshop, which was situated at the University of Ife, as in the Ile-Ife, where many young artists were trained in studio art. Now, he also worked at the Ahmadu Bello University, from where he rose to the professor and was appointed head of the Department of Fine and Applied Arts. Now, Professor Nwaboje later joined the services of the University of Benin, where he had many remarkable impacts. He pioneered the introduction of rare courses in art, which were not found in most art institutions in Nigeria, such as metal design and silversmithing. In most art institutions in Nigeria, we have less arts, like call it arts department. So Nwaboje now came in and said, no, it is better for us to introduce some other art department, like the metal designs. He also introduced even silversmithing. In some universities, we rarely have even goldsmiths. I don't know if there are universities that actually practice goldsmith in Nigeria, but anyway, there are some. He was one of the very pioneers that actually introduced this in Nigerian universities, both the metal design and the goldsmithing, being offered at the Faculty of Creative Arts, University of in Benin today. All right. Now, Professor Nwaboje had taken part in many art exhibitions in and outside Nigeria. Though he is no more, his works and contribution of art or to the art department in the country remain obvious. Some of his popular works include Romance of the Lord. It is a wood carving, it's a wood cut that he did. The Desert Journey, also a woodcut, The Two Women, Ink and Wash. Do you know what they call ink and wash? All right, by the time we proceed, we'll start talking about paintings, then we'll explain all that. Now we'll have what we call the ink and wash. It's a process where you use your ink, you take your brush, take a little ink, and then you add more water. So you wash it off, and then it just blows into the background. It just spreads. So we call it ink and wash. He also made the Music Maker. That is a painting. So these are some of his major works. All right. So now let's take a quick summary of Nwamara IS. Now Nwamara IS was born in 1930 and died in 1997. Hailed from Umuji, own local government of Edo State. He attended Edo College, Benin, for his secondary school education, and later trained at the Nigerian College of Art, Science and Technology, Zaria, with diploma in fine art in 1959. Nwamara got his MFA and doctorate degree in art from the United States of America. A graphics artist, he's a painter, an art educator, and an administrator. He was fond of Ori and Oluyikun art workshop at Ile-Ife. Now he worked as a lecturer at the Yaba College of Technology, Ahmadu Bello University, and finally at the University of Benin as the dean of the faculty. He wrote books on art for use in secondary schools in Nigeria, had series of exhibitions in Nigeria and abroad, active member of the SNA and the INSE. Now these are two strong society of art in Nigeria. The SNA is known as the Society of Nigerian Artists, while the INSA, they are also a Society of Nigerian Artists though, but now they include, educators, teachers, so that is exactly the two major society he was a member in. Now his popular works includes The Romance of the Head Lord, The Desert Journey, Two Women, and The Music Maker. So these are some of the major paintings he did. Now if you see The Music Maker, how he plays with colors, they look monochromatic. So amazing works. So that's the impact from what's his name again? Professor Umuji. That's his impact now for Professor Umuji. So now let's look at the very last person we'll talk about today, which is Dele Jegede. Dele Jegede is a painter, he's a cartoonist, he's also an art critic. He looks so much like the popular Wole Soyinka. All right, and Professor Yusuf Grillo. Okay, so now let's take a good look at Dele Jegede. Now some of his general contribution in art. His daily cartoons were in the service of Daily Times of Nigeria. We are a tonic of readers in the area of education, now information and entertainment. He was also presenting a hilarious and educative series comic in the Sunday Times titled Kole and Menace between 1974 to 1977. He won series of prize in art when he was a student. He has held series of one-man exhibition, which is also known as Wasolo exhibition in Lagos between 1974 and 1977. Now, Dele also took part in the national exhibition as in Fextac in the 77s, as in 1977, and those of the contemporary Nigerian artists and the University of Lagos Women's Society exhibition. Now, these are some of the exhibitions he participated. Now, other popular works of this artist include My People, A Couple of Medugri, Aria, and the Donkeys and their riders, Hunters and their wife, Nunu Sellers, to mention but a few. Dele is currently in the United States of America, having worked briefly at the Institute of American Studies in the University of Lagos. Now you see, Dele, as a cartoonist, he worked with several newspapers. He's the one that creates, content for newspapers. That's his major work. He creates very funny comics for newspapers and other paper bodies, to mention but a few. So that is one of the key things Dele did. All right, now let's take a quick summary of exactly what Dele Jegede did for us now in the field of art and why we regard him as one of the contemporary Nigerian artists. Now Dele is a painter, he's a cartoonist, and also an art critic. He was born in the 19th April of the 1945 in Ikere, Ekiti State in Nigeria. Early education in his hometown, attended the Yaba College of Technology and the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria to study fine art. Graduated with a BA in art, painting to be precise, in 1973. He traveled to the US for his master's and doctorate degree. His modern paintings resemble works of his contemporary artist, Yaba Technology, has actually produced, and those of their master Grillo, Yusuf Grillo and co. So which means they are the ones that actually influence Dele Jegede in some of the things he does. Now, use of private iconographic in the rendering of his figure. Now, when I mean private iconographic, he created some letters for himself, which he uses in his image, and some kind of strange substance mixed with the usual oil color. Some of the things he did, he mixed a lot of strange substance. He just mixed them with oil color and then start painting. And he's an impressionist painter who works sometimes look like finished work. Sometimes the works, they'll just look unfinished. Sometimes they look finished. You cannot just really place your hand on how Dele's work look like. He's a great cartoonist who has worked with the Daily Times of Nigeria, making daily and weekly cartoons. Fond of picking his themes from the business, politics, festivals, and hilarious mood. He has had series of one-man and joint exhibition in Nigeria and even outside. He worked at the African Studies of University of Lagos before traveling to the United States or to the US. Now, popular works, My People. Some of his popular works are My People, The Couple in Meduguri, Araye, The Nunu Seller, and Samaru, to mention but a few. Now, these are some of his popular works that he has actually done. So, let's take a good look at now this is the Nunu Seller, and then these are some of his works that Dele Jegede did as a contribution in the field of art. Okay, so now let's take a quick look at the modern Nigerian art. So we'll just take a quick, because I remember I explained that contemporary art, these are the people that exist or that came immediately after the traditional Nigerian art. So after them, we have the modern artist. So let's just take a quick look at who is a modern artist. Now, modern art refers to the art style that revolves around the contemporary art. Now, modern art came about through the effort of Aina Onabolu. Hence, modern artists were also considered as contemporary Nigerian artists. Now, modern artists experiment with medium extensively. They develop ideas from the known to the unknown. Now, understand this. Now, they start from the known and start creating their own works down to the known. You see, they start from the known before they now venture into the unknown. That's why currently now we have more of the abstract works. So the unknown, we regard them as the abstract, while the known, we regard them as the normal, regular, realistic kind of work that has been produced by the traditional artist. Now, modern artists use his creative ingenuity to highlight the distinct and the designing of the word. They use their creative ingenuity to highlight some of the menace, that is happening in the world. They also relate the past to the present down to the future. If you remember, I told us they start from the known and they now venture into the unknown, which is the future. So this is exactly what the impact the modern Nigerian artists are creating or does for the field of art. Now, they are an embodiment of character and distinction. So that is some of the characteristics of the modern Nigerian art. Now, modern artworks enrich the mind with vivid imagination through color usage, from construction to modeling of forms and shape with common and uncommon materials. Now, modern art can be super hyper realism. Now, when I mean super hyper, currently now we have some persons doing great works. I saw a video of a lady painting with both hands and both legs at the same time, simultaneously. It was amazing. So that's how far modern artists has actually gone. Now they started from the known and they now venturing into the unknown. Now, modern art can be super hyper realism. And realism, it can also be totally abstract, things you cannot imagine or things you cannot comprehend. So these are the major characteristics of the modern artists in Nigeria. All right, so let's look at the summary of what we've done so far. Okay, now first, because of this study, we defined what contemporary art is, or what contemporary art is, and I try to explain who started contemporary art in Nigeria, and then that was when we mentioned, the likes of Aina Onabolu as the father of art in Nigeria. We also discussed how he brought art into Nigerian schools, and then even made the government to also include it in our school curriculum. And that is why, and even his impact of bringing expatriates like the likes of Kenneth Morel, to mention but a few, to come into Nigeria, to teach Nigerian students. We are now the emergence of the likes of Ben Enwomu, Bruce Onubrapeya, the likes of Yusuf Grillo, the likes of, to mention but a few. These are the ones we talked about in the course of the study, So now these are the impacts that the father of art in Nigeria did for art in Nigeria. Now, we also went further to list 4 notable Nigerian contemporary artists in this particular study, where we talked about Buhari, Jerry Buhari, and the likes of Uche. We talked about, them. Too many names are just banking into my head. I'm trying to break them out to look at the ones we talked about. So we talked about their impact and even their artworks. So and then we gave a total summary of how they affected art in Nigeria. So thank you very much for sitting back with us. So now I'm going to ask you some few questions as we verge to see how far we've grabbed. All right. So Q&A. They are simple questions. Define contemporary art. Define contemporary art. What do you think contemporary art is? Yes? Okay. Now, if you say this is the art that existed immediately after the traditional art, you're very correct. If you say these are the artists that are, that mix Western culture with the Nigerian traditional culture to create their images, you're still correct. All right. So now let's look at the question number 2. List 2 works produced by Dele Jegede. Dele Jegede. List 2 works that were produced by who exactly is even Dele Jegede? Let me just help you and give you a clue. The very person I told us that he's a cartoonist, he's an art critic, he's a painter, and an art educator that is currently in the United States. Who is he? All right, so just mention 2 of his works. All right, so thank you so very much for sitting back with us. Now let's venture into the exam guide. This is where you get some random questions, from your WEAC, from your NECO, from your BESE, from your JAMB, any of the exams. So you go there, you try your hand. Now, if you've been with us this while, by now you should be very, very conversant with it. So now let's verge in and dive into the exam guide. Okay. All right, so today we talked about cultural and creative art. So we check your cultural and creative art on the exam guide. Now you check it. So today I want us to look at 2013 paper 1 in the exam guide, and then we go down straight to select our topic. We talked about culture and art history. So we just pick culture and art history, they are checked. All right, and then we'll get started. All right, so now today I want us to look at 2 questions. We'll just take 2 questions, not much from this section. Now let's look at question number 3. Question number 3. Now you say, who among these artists is not from Nigeria? Who among these artists is not from Nigeria? Number 1 is Aina Onabolu. Is he from Nigeria? Yes. Number 2 is Ben Enwomu. We talked about Ben Enwomu. Is Ben Enwomu from Nigeria? Yes. Then we talked about Bruce Onubrapeya. Yes. We talked about Dele Jegede. Yes. Then Vincent Kofi. No. And then the answer is E. So if you choose E, you're very, very correct. You see, even in your exam, they brought out the names of all these guys. So you just have to know them. You don't have any choice. You just have to know them. The Aina Onabolu, the Ben Enwomu, the Bruce Onubrapeya, the Dele Jegedes. You just need to know them. And then, now let's look at the next question. Let's try question number 5. Now, the father of Nigerian modern art is called Dash. Who is the father of Nigerian modern art? Is it the Twin 77? No. Is it Professor Uche Okeke? No. Is it Akinola Lasakin? No, you see, all these names, they are all professional Nigerian, they are all contemporary Nigerian artists. So thank God we talked about all of them. So just go and read about them. So now they say the question is, who is the Nigerian modern art? Who is the Nigerian modern art? And the father of Nigerian modern art is Dash. And I guess the answer, I flogged this over and over and over again, is Aina Onabo.
Thank you for participating in today's class. You can practice more questions using the exam guide. Now, the app scores and give a detailed explanation of all the questions at the end of your practice test. Now, you can learn a particular topic of interest with different modes like study mode, mock mode, and practice mode. It also have other features that make learning fun. Now, it is a must-have for all serious students. Download the app from www.examguide.com if you don't have it yet. See you in the next class. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and then share this video to anyone you know that would benefit from it. Thank you, and bye-bye.